Everyone, this is a Bitcoin design review call, and this time we have a special guest, Eddie, here, and we will talk about Jam, which initially was called JoinMarket Web UI. And I'm wondering actually if Eddie can kick us off here with a little bit more background on the project, because this is a web-based interface for an application that has actually been around much longer. But this was kind of a way to bring coin joins and the features of this application, make it more accessible by providing a more accessible interface that's more targeted towards casual users. I think so. I hope we can cover some of the project background, why it exists, what it does, state today, design process, and then just some of the challenges around designing for privacy, which is kind of difficult. And then, maybe talk about some design problems and where things might go from here on. But Eddie, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and kick us off?
Sure. Thank you, Christoph. Thanks everyone for joining. So I'm Eddie, freelance designer since I don't know 8+ years, something like that. And I joined the now called Jam team early on, also with Christoph and some others. And I'm still there, and the project is still going. But I will talk a bit about that later. Um, Maybe I should just start in where we are coming from. What is JoinMarket, the application behind Jam? Because Jam, as already said, is just an UI, an interface for JoinMarket. And yeah, I think I will just go more or less through the chronological history. Therefore, I will share my screen, and you need to please give me yep, a thumbs up. Thank you. So, what is JoinMarket? So I think the most of you already heard about coin joins, etc. And here in the Bitcoin Talk forum, you see that there was introduction of JoinMarket in 2015. So it's some years back. And as you already also maybe know, there are different implementation of coin joins. So everyone is doing a little bit different. There is Wasabi, there is Dry, and also JoinMarket. The big difference with JoinMarket is that it's creating literally a market between two parties that are called takers and makers. So there is no, this is also my not very technical understanding of the whole thing in the background. There is no central coordinator. So for a coin join, so maybe I will also talk about a coin join. A coin join is like, imagine you have a party and every one of your guests has $10. Everyone throws the $10 on a table. Someone is like shuffling them around, and everyone takes $10 out of this, after shuffling. And this is basically more or less a coin join. You are bringing a lot of people with an amount of money, also different amounts of money, and everyone is getting their share back minus fees, for example, in a real transaction. And there you have it. You have like different UTXOs that are coming back to you. And Wasabi and Samurai are doing it a little bit differently. They have a central point that is coordinating these transactions, and JoinMarket hasn't. JoinMarket is a market where you have takers and makers, and makers are the people that are, offering their liquidity all the time, and takers are the ones that are coordinating in the moment when they need a coin join. So they are also paying the fees. The makers are, in this case, as you can see here in point 2, are even able to earn some income from their Bitcoins investments. So this earn part is pretty important or interesting, because our goal initially when we started Jam was to make in our mind was like, we have one big button, press it, and you are earning Bitcoin totally magically. So one application, one button, I want to earn Bitcoins, so I'm providing liquidity to the market. I'm still in control of all my Bitcoins, etc. I can cancel the process, but when I don't need it, I can use it to earn some fees. So this is basically the idea, and we started it in 1.5 years back because there was an API. This was more or less the kickoff point, because JoinMarket implemented an API, and based on that, we could work and implement an interface. As you can see, so this is also how I started the project. There is always a lot of text to consume because it's really a very different kind of logic behind this, with the takers, the makers, and what's happening underneath, that you always have to read a lot of text, a wall of text. And going from here to the actual JoinMarket client server, JoinMarket org on GitHub, the wall of text continues. So there's really a lot to read. And nevertheless, even with these JoinMarket Qt, so a wallet interface that you can download, install, and work with, you are still basically very confused after reading, working through a lot of text and a lot of tutorials. So this is what you have, what you will get with the with their implementation. Based on that, there's also a video tutorial on how to use JoinMarket. I could possibly, this is also going through all these steps, a lot of CLI, a lot of terminal commands. A lot of explanation is needed to get your wrapper around all this logic. And another source for me was from Adam Gibson, the creator of JoinMarket, as far as I know. And he also made an interesting presentation where he screen shared his not only the walkthrough you just saw, but also again all the CLI and the wallet software. Wait a second, here, where you see the results, etc., etc. But the key takeaway is a lot of numbers, a lot, and very hard to understand concept behind all this. Yeah, and this was where we started. This was where we came from. Let me see, what is this? Okay, this is something I will also talk about. So this is where we started, and now we will jump right into our Figma, but not on the application, still on the research part. The research part was interesting because we had some community calls in the beginning, and a very hungry team that also started very quickly because the API was there, and people just wanted to have a real quick solution or something out of it that actually works, more or less a proof of concept. And as you can see, this is where also Christoph was there. It was so fast, I literally cannot tell you who was first. Was it Christoph with the designs, or was it I think Dennis back then with the implementation? But as you can see here, there are some screenshots of the early version. You have like our still the old name, a logo presented, or did Christoph did, a navigation, some other stuff, and in the middle still a lot of to consume and to understand, because it was really like hey, we need a proof of concept, we want to have it like a workable prototype. This is basically what was there very quickly. In the meantime, we also had calls, community calls, where I also tried to wrap around my head all of this, what is happening, how it's working, what does it mean, what are all the terminologies that is thrown around. And I also tried, I will not go through that, but this is something I did, like understand, work through what is happening, present to the others, get the feedback, and still figuring out what I'm actually seeing and doing here. Another picture is missing, but no, this doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Maybe for also for you to understand. Now, I will present it. I think it is easier. So this is where we came from. This is more or less the history. And Christoph introduced, of course, the design kit that is very usable here and has still a lot of functions for us. And here on the main screen, we have like more or less our application, that is, yeah, still the single point of truth, more or less, for the developers. And it's already progressed a little bit further than the development, but it's still yeah, valid in many points. And I think I will just start by actually showing you also the prototype. So because we have here wired and working prototype in with many stories, and I will just go through it with the intro because the intro, I also have, wait a second, I also have a running instance here in the background. Nice gift. And there the intro is skipped, so that's the reason why I will do it here in Figma. Sorry for jumping around. Maybe I should also say that our goal is to implement, to provide Jam as an installation, also in, for example, Umbrel, an easy one-click installation, and other Node implementations. But you can also, of course, download and build it yourself, Docker style, etc., etc. But the main idea is you see it in a store like this, and you make it super easy for the people, for everyone out there, not the technical guys. Click it, use it, and be part of the market. This is more or less the idea behind it. Okay, so when the user installs the application, JoinMarket, and Jam, the UI, is installed on the node. Both are needed, both are working together because Jam, again, is just an UI. And the user is presented with this options, skipping the intro. We will not do that. It's getting started. We'll have a little onboarding. It was also a quick win, like 1.5 years ago, never redesigned, never fine-tuned anymore, because right now it's just working. You are going through the screens. You're getting all the important informations, and then you're good to go. And you need to create a wallet. Very easy. You are naming your wallet. You are giving a password to your wallet. It's being created. And when it's created, you, of course, as usual, have to secure it. And you can reveal your seed phrase and also your password that you need to unlock Jam. And you need to double down that you verify that you've written it down, but we are not trusting you or anyone else. That's the reason why we, of course, want you to verify your words. You can go back and write it down, and you can, of course, skip it, but we just want to be sure that everything is fine. You put in all your words, then you are allowed to go and fund your wallet or enter the application in this case. And this is what you see when you first land inside the application. Also, a neat feature is coming up completely automatically. It is a wanted feature that also had received a lot of good feedback, is our so-called cheat sheet. So this cheat sheet is coming up from the bottom on first load once, and you can remove it, but you always have it here at the bottom. And the cheat sheet is just like a little note that will give you more or less idea how to work with JoinMarket or with Jam. So it's like just go through the steps and repeat. First, you receive your funds, so you have to fund it. You can click on it and you will go straight into the receive page. And sorry for the inconsistency here, but this is one thing that we are not completely in sync. But I will show you the cheat sheet right now in the actual application in the version 1015. So from here, I will jump straight into our real application that is running locally on my machine. We are unlocking some sets. Please work. Yeah, and this is the application. What we have, what you can also download right now. So you see the cheat sheet here is consistent. You need to fund your wallet. You send a collaborative transaction to another jar. I will talk to you in detail about that. You can lock a Fidelity bond, but this is optional. Then you can earn some sats by providing liquidity. So in step 2, you are a taker. You are a maker, sorry. And in step 4, you're a taker. And step 5, you are sweeping all your transactions to other wallets. So you're emptying everything out here. And then basically you're done, but you always can just repeat. So this is an endless loop. And the more you are participating, more anonymity set you will get from your UTXOs. So in this case, in this story, we already have funded our wallet, but nevertheless, I can show you that you go to receive, you just get your QR code, you can copy it, you can copy that, you can even share it if you want with others and mail it, whatever. And every screen has also options. And this is something I also could talk about a little bit. Every screen tries to balance between different personas. So on the one hand, we want it as quick and as simple as possible. On the other hand, we are always, or right now, trying to have feature parity with JoinMarket. This is our mission that more or less evolved during the development, that we are always trying to balance both worlds. So there was even ideas like having advanced views or advanced settings, etc. But we always try to bring it as we had an agreement somewhere in the development that it's a good idea to set like very good defaults for the users that are not looking into the behind the scenes and just want to trust us and have good defaults and work with them. And on the other hand, we have at the same time advanced users that wants, first of all, understand more, and second of all, have more control over the application and knowing what they're doing because they understand the ideas behind JoinMarket. So here you could on screen open up receive options, and I will turn it back off because on the main screen I want to show you the new logic that we implemented also very late in the development stage. Just a quick note, when you create or when you work with JoinMarket, you are creating one wallet. You think you are creating one wallet, you have one pair of words you have to write down, seed words, but in the background, JoinMarket created 5 wallets. And these 5 wallets are called in the development world are called mixed dev. So very confusing. In the end, they are just wallets, but you are not controlling any one of them. You are controlling one main wallet, and the other ones are derived from there. And it was very confusing. And also, of course, developer they started with mixed dev 0 and went up to 4. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is also something good naming for in the development world, bad naming in the user world, because users are not starting to count with 1. They are with 0. They are starting to count with 1 to 5. And now we had a really big mismatch already, because people went to our Telegram group asking for support, and we always needed to figure out where are the so we came up with a different idea. First of all, we came up with these jars. These are jars are when you first launch the wallet, are completely empty. You receive your first or your fund, your first wallet in this case, and they will pop up in A because it's 0, or we removed all the numberings and said, okay, we have jars, they are counting from A to E, A, B, C, D, E. And to make it even more fun, we said, okay, we are creating jam here. So we named our jars by fruits. And what we are doing here is we are cooking jam. And this analogy was kind of success, because from that point on, we had reduced all the big question marks already, and people understood that okay, I have a container like jar, and there my UTXOs will go in, and from there, when you use JoinMarket or Jam, in this case, your by sending or earning, your UTXs are jumping from one jar to the other. They go from A to E and repeat when you are earning, for example, or you can send yourself a collaborative transaction that is actually a coin join. We try to not use the official language here because it's hard to understand, but it's easy to understand when you say, okay, I'm doing a collaborative transaction. I'm as said, taking part with others. It's easier to understand. The idea here again worked, and we had these little jars that when you go with the mouse or hover over it, you can even look inside, and there you get some details that are needed. You can switch to even more technical stuff. Again, this is something we wanted to have for the advanced users, because now they see all the used, reused, or locked addresses, or you can have a view of your UTXOs. You can freeze, unfreeze them, everything that is needed. You can see how many confirmations were done, and even more informations that are hard to digest because they're right now in a very technical form, and in my Figma world they are already much more usable, and also again stripped down to the minimum information that anyone needs, but left out all the redundant informations that no one needs repeated. So this is the view of the jars, and you can also click through all of them here. So we also tried to have good UX everywhere, so you don't have to go in and out all the time, and get a good overview of all your informations and needed information. And as you also saw, this is something we also hide in the beginning. So we want to really to reduce the wallet and this tool Jam as much as possible. So it's basically receiving, sending, earning, and then sweeping out. Exactly what the cheat sheet suggests. We have, of course, also settings. This is very basic. You can hide your balance, switch around in different amounts, light or dark themes. We also start very early translations, but we also stopped them very early because the application was always in a different state, and it was very hard to keep up for the people who wanted just to contribute and make the first translation. So we stopped it basically and are English only right now. You can adjust fees. You have a little bit of wallet controls. This is also something that we want, and I also designed already to make it even easier, because in the beginning, the first users are, just want to have one wallet. That is basically, again, 5 jars and wallets. It's already complicated enough. And we, on the other hand, want also feature parity with JoinMarket. So there you can have more wallets. And yeah, this is something we need to do, or we want to do, but we want to also to do it even easier. So you can lock your wallet, you can switch your wallets. Jam and JoinMarket needs to be online all the time. This is also something important. So on your node, when you are participating in sending or earning, then your node needs to be online all the time. Of course, that's also very important. So you are not able to, lock your wallet and close it and want to start another one, because then your process is killed. Also, we have a little bit of documentation and help, etc., etc. But that is not very important. Let's focus on the upper part. So after receiving your or funding your jar, you are able now to go to send, next step, and do a collaborative transaction. As you can see, you only have one jar with a lot of Bitcoins in there. And that's the reason why it's already pre-selected with this radio button, and you cannot do anything else. But imagine you would have some other jars filled. Maybe we even can, showcase this right now. You could select other jars too, of course, but you only can select, again, only one where you are sending from. You cannot mix it right here. That's the reason why it's already a radio button. Here you can enter an address, copy paste from somewhere. So going here, I could copy that, throw in here, very easy. You could, of course, select something different outside of Jam, any wallet you want. But you also can, or has the ability to send the funds inside Jam again. So it's not even leaving the application. That's the reason why you have like this jar icon, where on the other hand, you now can say, okay, I want to put it in here or here. Doesn't matter, but let's put it far away. And now the system automatically created or fetched an address for you, and you see where your funds are going. You can kill it and choose other. And here you can put in some amounts in sats. This is something also that is not very good right now, because in my screens we have, like, you can write in Bitcoins or Satoshis, you can switch it. Right now it's very easy, just put in sats, and it's you need to calculate yourself. It's a little bit tricky. Another very nice feature of JoinMarket that, as I know, the others don't have, is you sweep the complete wallet. And sweep means when you click it, it's locking this field and doing everything in the background that is needed. Sweeping means you are not leaving any change on the address or wallet. And this is very unique in my opinion. And others are always have the problem. So other implementations of CoinJoin have the problem that they're leaving toxic change. And this toxic means that when you're mixing it with other UTXOs, you are running into the problem that you can maybe be tracked by blockchain analysis. And this is something that JoinMarket implemented it, so you are really able to mix everything. This is very unique as far as I know. Here underneath, you will get, again, a lot of information to consume, because it's not that easy to understand what will arrive in the target wallet. and how is it everything is calculated. So you need a lot some informations so the people could digest it before they actually click it. And with the sending options, again, we set some defaults, hide it for the user. So you see, you can choose even how many collaborators you are taking in, because you are creating and coordinating this coin join transaction. You have the power to even make even more collaborators, but every collaborator is, of course, increasing the fees and the costs at the end. But you also could, if you want, deactivate this and say, I just want to send without any coin join. And we are then giving you a big red button that you are really not doing any coin joins in this case. You are saving a lot of fees, of course, but this is not why you're here. That's the reason it's so red. So these are our defaults that we want to use. And now we can actually create this collaborative transaction. Let's try. You have again to confirm some informations. So here the system fetched some informations locally on my machine. And now we can try it out. Let's see what happens. Because it's a process that consumes time, you actually see this screen. So you see there's a little green dot fading in, fading out. You see our coin join icon top right, that something is in process. And when you revisit the site, this page with set, you actually see that everything is more or less hidden, not readable, and that something is going on. Nevertheless, you could even abort it, or you can leave it running, because the same warning should, and I hope it will, come up when you click on earn. For example, you want to do the next step, but the system understands that there is a collaborative transaction in progress. That's the reason you don't see any further input fields, etc. here. And you can even click on this icon, also already developed, implemented, and go back straight to the page where the magic is actually happening. And you see, okay, it's still working. I need still to wait. I will abort it right now. Nothing moved, unfortunately. I think I need to execute some mining commands in the background to have it actually work. So sorry, I cannot show you this. But we can continue on the next screen. On the next screen, earn. This is where you are by also our cheat sheet able. You are taking the other part of this market, where you are providing liquidity to the market, and you are just waiting and sitting there for people to take your offer, for takers to take your offer. And earn has a bit more text to consume and then a little bit more explanation. And this is again something we are still working on, because we have here a lot of confusion, and something that also we are the problem of. We created this confusion. So basically, you can earn right now. You could just skip this, create a Fidelity bond, because as our cheat sheet said, this is something optional. And you can again open up some options. You can do an absolute offer, relative offer. So you're basically setting your fees that you're how you're offering your bitcoins to the market, and what you expect out of it. We will hide that, and yeah, basically you could just click start earning and let's go. So earning is active, something is working, some stuff is happening in the background on my local machine. Oh, it even could do that. And what just happened is that we created an offer and pushed it to an order book. This order book looks like this. So this is like really the JoinMarket order book right now online, not on local on my machine, where you see a lot of stuff and a lot of people participating. They created this IDs or their offerings, that have all these characteristic fees and what you need to be minor fees that are completely zeroed, for example, or the minimum size, the maximum size to take this, and also a fidelity bond. So there are people that are created fidelity bonds. And so to understand these order book, it's everyone is participating in an open market. And now the big question is, how are the takers that are, wait a second, that are coming from the send part and deciding, okay, I want to have 8 collaborators. What is the JoinMarket doing in the background? So JoinMarket is looking at the order book and picking, of course, your values. So your initial, how much do you want to be mixed, a coin joint, and looking in the order book, but still is preferring the offerings with fidelity bonds. Fidelity bonds, to understand, are time-locked bitcoins that the makers who provided the liquidity took and added more value to their offering. They took some bitcoins, time locked them for an amount of time, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe even years, and are showing to the market that they are very serious and can be trusted a little bit more, let's say. The fidelity bond is also fixing an attack vector that is a Sybil attack, and in this attack, you basically, if you are the attacker, you could swamp this order book with a lot of different IDs and different offerings, but at the end, you are one entity that has all the control over these, not fake, real offerings, but still you are the single point that can look into all these gigantic offerings, and then you could rebuild and de-anonymize the takers that are joining with you. You know what I mean? So at the end, you could have like one taker that is collaborating with 8 offerings, but all 8 offerings are held by, I don't know, the agencies with 3 letters. And to fix this, you can create a fidelity bond where where it costs you a little bit more in the end, because you are locking away your own bitcoins for a period of time and showing to the market that you are serious about it. And it would be very costly for an attacker to also do the same and even lock, so providing liquidity on the one hand, and also lock away much more bitcoins to a time contract. So wait a second, where am I? Here. So basically, this is my earning right now. I created something, and in this view, I'm more or less waiting. So I can leave my node alone. It will wait all the time and do everything in the background. When it's chosen, when it was taken, my offering, then I'm participating in a collaborative transaction. And from there, I can look at my earning report and see a little bit of amount coming in, because I'm harvesting the fees that I chose at the beginning. But at the end, it could be that you coming back after weeks and see that you were never chosen. That's the reason where you are starting to think about fidelity bonds. And fidelity bonds are, again, a little bit harder to set up. And I will not show you the implementation right now. I will go to my Figma file where I'm will show you the progress that still needs to be implemented. So let's go to Fidelity Bond. So here you can see my designs, and we just try to create a Fidelity Bond. When you click on it, a model is introduced to you where you see where all these time-locked Bitcoins will go. So this is your first information, that it's time-locked. There's an address. You can look it up if you want. This address was created and fetched for you in this second where you started the process. And you have some steps to do, 1, 2, 3, and a confirmation page. So step 1 is you're deciding how long you're willing to provide your Bitcoins in a time-locked contract. In this case, it's also calculating when they will be unlocked again, so you can then move them. You are fine with the suggested decision of 4 months, and you go to step 2. In step 2, you see how colorful our jars are, and you see that you have a lot of transactions, collaborative transactions already. You maybe earned already, and that's the reason why your UTXOs are all over the place. But again, you need to choose one jar where you are taking as a source. In this case, I'm taking elderberry. And this is also something that is very confusing. As I told you, a lot of people are, starting with one full jar or one jar that is filled, taking all the UTXOs, locking them up for 4 months, coming back to the earn screen, and are introduced to a situation where they actually locked up all their funds, but don't have any funds left on the system to actually participate in the market. So this is like this confusing screen, this confusing step that we want also to fix with this mask. That's the reason why when you choose your jar and go to next, you will be presented with the UTXOs that are selectable. So now it's getting a little bit full in the screen, but we want to get as tight as possible. So the system even selects the biggest UTXO, in this case with the 0.4 Bitcoins, and it's not selecting anything else. First, it's selecting an UTXO that was already joined. So maybe the user, as our cheat sheet said, or collaborative transaction to himself from jar 1 A to B, for example. This is something the user should do so that he can see here and is choosing already a good UTXO. On the other hand, the user could, of course, activate more and more and more UTXOs, but the system will then warn him that no other UTXOs are left for actually work and earning with the system. Here you could open up the UTXO overview a little bit more and even see that are already frozen UTXOs that you cannot select. This is not possible. They have this icon, they are has this label and the color, and other UTXOs that are just regular, so never coin joined yet. So again, something we do not want you to use on the one hand, but if you opt this view, you can of course do whatever you want, but we are trying to tell you not to do it this way. So, okay, this is my Figma screens that are not really logical. I think when I click here, this is a screen. If you never had any collaborative transaction or green UTXOs that you can use in this step, then the screen would look like this, where we tell you, please close this, go back to send, do a send collaborative transaction first, and then come back here. Or you click just this one button and you will being brought to the send screen where you actually can do it like the cheat sheet suggests step by step. But coming back to the original, flow, the user selects one or is already has this pre-selected that he is creating a Fidelity bond that is locked until February, coming from jar E, has this one UTXO selected. The user could select more, but he doesn't want to. and goes to the confirmation page, where you can see we have a little bit different jar that is time locked, and the user needs again to understand what he is doing. And I hope you saw that that this button, I don't know if I can present it again. Let's see, yeah, is also blocked for 5 seconds. So with this, we want this stop the users that are just clicking next, 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 and that are, you know, locking up their bitcoins for a period of time and never read what is actually happening. So this is the idea here, to stop it, give the user the possibility really to understand what he's actually doing, and then create the Fidelity bond. By clicking here, the Fidelity bond needs some time to be created, and when it's done, you're like, this is your screen on the earn page, where the system sees that you have these one Fidelity bond that is usable for the earn screen, and you even get the chance to create another one. So I just basically restarting this process. But also here, the user needs to understand that the system can only work with one Fidelity bond and will always choose the biggest one that is locked up. And that's the reason it has a check mark here. And if you create another one, then you not choose it by yourself, but then will take the biggest one. But you could, you know, when you did something wrong here and you have, and you are a whale and you want to create an even bigger one, then you can do this. Yeah, that's basically it. From the earn screen, you would click on start earning, and this is the screen I redesigned a little bit. And yeah, but it's still not in development. And from here, you are waiting. You're viewing that something is happening. The green dot is there. The icon is here. We're earning sats slowly but steady. And these are all the informations. We could click on it. We could view the order book from here in best case without leaving our application, and, you know, using public order books. And we see that the Fidelity bond is also in use. And from here, we can anytime stop the process, confirm, and just do it again. For example, you need to restart your node or anything else. The Bitcoins are always in your control. You can stop such processes anytime. Okay, and from here, your again, your Bitcoins are shuffled all the time. So from jar A to E, they're going always in this order, and they are looping themselves from E to A automatically. This is more or less what the backbone of JoinMarket, what is actually happening in the background. And for you, the user, you need just to understand that you can send and also earn. So you are taker or maker. But nevertheless, you also have a last step that is also a script in JoinMarket, and it's called a scheduler. So a scheduler, we are still trying to figure out a good name, because in the implementation right now, it's a sweep. So this is like the live implementation. And I'm still fighting to call it a jam. And nevertheless, explain the user what is a jam. A jam is a sweep scheduler. So in this case, it's basically a script that takes the complete wallet. So in our case, really the 1.6 Bitcoins that are splitted from A to E, right? And giving the user the possibility to completely empty this jam wallet to zero. So this node where you're running it is completely empty, because you say, okay, I want everything out of here, and moved it after weeks or months, moved it into cold storage and other use cases that you have in mind. So for that, you can use the sweep scheduler that, as the name suggests, also sweeping everything, even change. Everything will be included into the big, huge script that takes different amount of time to complete. And to start the script, you need to point the system to 3 different, completely, in best case, completely different addresses. So one could be your cold storage, one could be another node, a Lightning node. Maybe you want to even open up a Lightning channel with this. And a third one is, I don't know, a gift to anyone. And by adding 3 addresses, in again, as random as possible, you are already good to go to start the scheduler. And you will see here also UI interface components that are still not implemented, but they're much funnier to look at as the implementation right now. Because when you start the scheduler, you are actually starting to cook a real big mashup of jam inside a cockpot. And this is what you see while it's working. So jam is active. You see again an icon. Again, something is happening. And you see a timer that needs to be filled. And all dots are completely random on this circle because it depends on randomness that this script, the scheduler, is applying on your transaction, on your big sweeping jam transaction, because it's randomizing time and value all the time, more or less. So this is what's happening in the background, and there are these different amounts of collaborative transactions, whereas there's also randomized time between them. So it's nearly impossible, I think, or is impossible, let's call it impossible, to figure out afterwards what's happened here. And this, yeah, cooking time is also presented, and everything is more or less estimated. So you cannot actually tell 100% how long this script and this whole process will take. So everything is an estimation, and of course here's a real value that is just counting up how long we are already in this process, and what is the next step. What are we doing here? We are waiting for the 5th step to start, etc. And your options to work with the script is you can pause it, so you can confirm that you really are sure that you want to pause it, and you learn here that you are even able to resume it later. So you can pause it, then it looks like this. The nothing is happening, no animations, and can cancel from here, because you need to pause the script to even get the cancel button option. But maybe you just want to resume it, and when you resume it, it just resumes at the point where it's left. And nevertheless, you could even kill this the process. So here you will lose the complete setup, the whole script setup in the background, and you could start from scratch. So yeah, exactly. And that is basically the overview what we have right now. You saw a little bit of what is implemented right now, and you also saw a little bit of what is hopefully coming or is in the pipeline. Maybe I should also talk a little bit about here, because I redesigned this look inside screen a little bit further and tried to do it even, as I said before, to compromise it even further and remove anything that is not necessary. So while hovering, you see that I have these buttons, and these buttons are like quick actions. You can, oops, okay, Figma is not helpful. Help, click, no. Okay, something is wrong with my prototype. Here. When you click on the checkboxes, you have the controls to freeze, unfreeze the UTXOs, but you also have these quick buttons to do the same, where you, of course, when you are coming or on a blue row that is already frozen, you can unfreeze it, and on the other ones, you could freeze it if you want. And what you also can do is like open up this accordion and just see some informations that are necessary. Everything should also be, of course, clickable and is automatically copied into the clipboard. So you will get the whole information if you want, but we try to still condense it as far as possible and not use that much space. Yeah, but the screen is already is in a very good implementation state.
Hey, Eddie,
Yeah.
that's awesome. A couple people already had to drop off. I wanted to see if
Okay.
you want to open up for Yashraj or Noye if they had any questions. I don't know if they have any or if they need to hop off. Yashraj has a few. So for some background, Yashraj spent a lot of time recently looking into pay joins. He's working on a pay join case study and worked with Dan Gould to come up with something really cool there. So I'm sure he has some questions. So Yashraj,
Yeah,
feel free to
shoot.
hop in. Oh, okay.
I don't hear anything.
Did you mean to raise your hand, Yashraj, or was
No,
that
yet.
something else? An accident? Okay. You're not able to. Yeah, so just try to, Yashraj, just try to rejoin Jitsi. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That looks so crazy, your prototype. It's a lot
Yeah.
to, I know, it's so much, it's so hard to keep track of these prototypes, to keep them up to date and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry guys that it took me so long to explain everything, but as you can see, there's a lot of to explain still
Yeah,
to explain
I
and
mean,
show
that's
off.
super cool. It's a really complex application. Okay,
Uh,
Yashraj, I can hear
yes, I'm
you.
back.
All
Awesome.
right, cool.
Yeah. So I was about to say, or rather, I was saying that the application looks very well. Like it looks designed. It looks like it looks amazing. And this kind of a UI application is something that I was really waiting for because I like learned about join market like a year or two back, and I tried to figure it out, but it was all command line, so I was highly intimidated,
Mm,
and I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I think an application like this can be super duper useful, you know. um, so
thanks.
that's the first thing. But so I had a couple of points of feedback, so I can jump into that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused by the flow at the top that like goes from receive to send to earn. So i- is this like a user flow that I need to complete all the time, or are these like separate functionalities that like can be chained together almost?
Good question. It's a mixture. So on the one hand, we need, of course, navigation with feature parity, so that the users can actually work with the application. On the other hand, we have newcomers and people that never used or worked with CoinJoin that are that needs a little bit of guidance. So that's the reason why we have the idea. We had this idea with the cheat sheet, with the steps, but nevertheless, just tell the user to flow with this linear possibility. Because on the one hand, you need to receive something to work with. Then with that received, you could already be a taker and create a collaborative transaction, etc., etc. And based on that, when you have good UTXOs, joint UTXOs, you can create a Fidelity bond and start earning. So this is like the linear flow. But you, as an advanced user, you could also do everything else. So from receive, you could skip send and go straight to earn, what we don't want you to, but you're still able to because everything is good to go as it is. But there are warnings that it's not a good practice.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of discussion initially, if I remember correctly, where it was always like, well, you could do it this way, and you could do it that way, and you could do it that way, and then you can do this first, or
Mm-hmm.
you can do this later, and then it was super confusing to figure
Mm-hmm.
out how you're actually supposed to do this. And I think that's where some of this, it's like a suggested sequence, but it's not an enforced
Yeah,
sequence. And I think the way what users have to understand coming into this before is that this is not really meant to be a wallet that you use for a long time, that you store your money into, but you put money in, you put Bitcoin in, you improve their privacy, and then you move them out into Lightning channel, cold storage,
correct.
somewhere else. And if you want to do that, you follow the steps and you're good. But you can also do other things in there if you're a little bit more
Correct.
advanced and want to do
Um,
earning and whatnot.
yeah, that's a good point, actually. This is something also we want to improve with further development, is really to give the user the understanding this is a tool. This is not your day-to-day wallet, or even less, it's a cold storage or something. This is just a tool that you put something in and you take something out. And in between, you are improving your privacy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. Like, one thing that I was a little, like, I found it interesting is that, like, we are using a lot of t- terms here that people may not be aware of. Like, I don't know, maker, taker, frozen. Now you have the
Hmm.
Fidelity bond. I mean, these terms, as it is like in the regular financial markets, as it is, these are like difficult to understand. So I was just wondering how we are like going about that, because I see the cheat sheet and I see that there's a lot of like explainer text,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure how much people are going to understand. I mean, I just
that, yeah.
I just talk for myself, right? I don't want to talk about anybody else. Maybe they know
No,
more than me. I just found it a bit difficult to like understand all these new terms
yeah.
and
And
how
you're
they are used.
oh, sorry. And you're totally right. This is exactly where we are right now. Maybe a little outlook for the initial mission and roadmap. The idea here is we came, hey, here's an application. There is one big giant button. Press it and you're good to go. This is the super simple, stripped down understanding where we started. But we learned very quickly this is not possible. On the one hand, you need to teach the people and newcomers, and on the other hand, you also tries to mimic, feature parity with JoinMarket in the backend. And this is what we have right now. We tried to balance it, but I can imagine and I can see that when we have like real feature parity with JoinMarket, this is also in development instead, always in development, is when we reach this point that we can focus more and more on making it easier and easier. So we had, for example, ideas where you just you set up your jam to, for example, completely automatically move everything that is coming in into a cold storage, right? This is already preset, for example, and then hey, whenever I throw Bitcoins into my tool, in my jam, I know for my personal use case, everything is mixed completely automatically, everything is started and is set up completely automatically. And after a bunch of time, I can expect CoinJoin, UTXO go completely into one cold storage, or maybe three cold storage. This is like the idea where we try to, I hope, to pick up the discussion again and then move Jam into this direction. But
I,
nevertheless, you're completely right. Right now, we are trying to educate also a lot, because you can make things worse with this tool where you don't know how to use it.
yeah.
Yeah, right now, like, this seems like a tool for people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and so I guess like maybe that can be, helpful to uh, maybe craft it like a bit in a way that, that assumes people know what they are doing. Like it might help make some of the things simpler, maybe, because if I see a lot of text, I just get like probably intimidated by it. Even if I might know the concept, but I see all that text, it can be
Yeah.
intimidating.
That's actually, that was kind of that is the continuous challenge of this project, how to make this really simple. On the one hand, I found the idea of privacy is very tricky to communicate, because something that I always find so weird with privacy is that you can't tell if it worked, right? You put your coins in, you get them out at the other end, but you cannot tell if it's better now or not. Maybe someone looked at it, maybe they didn't. You just can't tell, right? Because that's just how privacy is. You can't tell if somebody watched you do something, because you didn't see them. And the other part is, there's also, like with the Fidelity bonds and these offers, the way fees are calculated and all of that, there's a ton of stuff happening under the hood, and there's a very dynamic market happening. So maybe you're really in a rush, and the order book is really empty, or maybe you have a lot of time, and the order book is really full. So people are competing for your coin joiner. So there's a lot of under the hood dynamics that are. Um, Very difficult to abstract. And it's a really tough challenge, this project. So hats off to Eddie
Yeah,
and the team.
absolutely. I mean, I loved some of the like I loved the concept of jars. I'm not sure that I totally understood it, but like the jars and the names for the jars, like these are just wallets with like, are these just wallets, or these are like UTXOs grouped by how anonymous they are? I'm not sure.
Wallets.
Okay, these
It's
are, yeah.
really numbered wallets that are called mixed dev in JoinMarket
Mhm.
universe, and are called jams without any numbering in our world, just to make it even easier.
Mhm.
And the
I
idea is
love that.
that the idea is that as you make those privacy improving transactions, your coins move across wallets, across addresses, and no address is ever used twice. So they kind of get spread out across
Okay.
all of these different places,
Mhm.
and that's how they get distributed. But yeah, it was.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when I first saw the jars, I was like, it's so cheesy, but I really like them now. I think
Yeah.
it's
I
well
love
done.
the I love that concept for sure, and I love the execution as well of this thing. I like it a lot. One last thing I'll say, because because we have this earn tab here, I'm just I'd just be a little cautious when I have a tab like that and text like that, because it sounds like a investment instrument, like a financial instrument.
Hmm.
So that might be,
Well, it kind of
like,
is, right? I mean, you do earn through it.
yeah, yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, I understand it, and I love this concept in theory, that I'm not like gambling away my money in like casino somewhere. Like, this is something amazing. But at the same time, I'm a little wary of like how somebody else who is in a more official, legal position might perceive this,
Mhm.
because we are
Hmm.
saying earn, and like that is, like that is how the scams always start also, right? Do this and earn. But like, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and that's also something for us. We need to make really clear that you are in full control of your um, coins. They're not, more or less, not leaving until the scripts are working, and you are really collaborating, and then they're sent, etc., etc. But before that, they are just sitting around and waiting. So in the intro slides, where you click next and before you start with the wallet creation, this is something we also need to focus on, to tell the people this is this is a safe space. No? Nothing to worry about. It's locally on your node. You're in full control, and it's a tool. Yeah, that's also important.
Yeah, I think that's really well done here too. All these different disclaimers you added in different scenarios. I think that was so hard initially to figure out how to handle these situations, but it sounds like you've made just a ton of progress there. Probably also with a lot of user feedback, right?
Good point. Yes and no.
Still there?
Into prompts and um, misunderstanding, etc., or misuse of also, where, for example, we figured out that a lot of people are locking up every UTXOs in a Fidelity bond and then are very confused that they actually cannot participate in the market because nothing is left, and then they have to receive again to actually start. So this is like, and also on GitHub, of course, the issues we are getting there. But we are not actively like we also have not the manpower in the background to actively go and have testings and research, etc. right now, because we just don't have the manpower to do it. So we are always looking for user feedback and collecting them, clustering them, and then I'm more or less starting redesigning and figuring out what to fix and how to fix on my Figma screens that I present in the next community call. And there, most of the time, are only developers that want maybe to contribute, but always the core of the team still joining, that are analyzing and feedbacking my suggestions that is it going into the right direction, and then we are make a commitment, are we implementing it and then throwing it on the market, and people will always come back to us with any feedback.
So I don't want to keep you a ton longer here. Just have a couple more questions. So one is, one starting point for this project was also that there was a big bounty on GitHub where a whole bunch of people
Yeah,
chimed in and said, I really want to see this happen. Here's money. And a
yeah,
bunch of people
yeah,
did. And I think that was something that unique that I've never really seen elsewhere, where so many people said they really want this. So I thought that was kind of remarkable, and I was wondering if those people are actually still, if what happened with the bounty, and if those people are still around, if like there's a whole bunch of
mm.
people offering several millions, like down their bounties now 16 million sats.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was one
we
of
are
my
right
questions.
now. Yeah, yeah, sure. Good question, because in the last days we talked about internally again about this bounty. It's still not claimed. So this bounty was introduced in 2021, and we as a team, or Gigi in this case, tried to comment on it a year later, and I bumped this again 3 days ago, and now we have a little bit of traction. Maybe we can at the end claim it. There are like 0.5 bitcoins right now that even the Human Rights Foundation chimed in somewhere here. I don't know. And yeah, as you can see, the by following this a year ago, a lot of people also here, Odell, etc. Chimed in. A lot of people showed their interest, of course, because there was a bounty behind it. And also, of course, the API was the kickoff point where it actually could start working on JoinMarket. There were different implementations. I not tracking them, but I think all of them dried out. So at the end, it's only us that are still here and still working, and still have our community calls. And that's basically it where we are right now. So the bounty is not claimed yet. We also just had to talk about, if we get the bounty, what to do with it, how to split it, even how maybe to also maybe even reinvest, because this is another thing that the team is like struggling a little bit right now. I mean, at the end, after over a year of development, everyone also has other things to do, and right now the focus is shifting, and I would love to see more contribution, more developer power in the team that maybe gets a little bit of a incentive to put in some hours or some time to bring the development further, because I think this tool has a lot of potential. Right now we're still trying to do the feature parity, but it could be much easier to use, more seamless integration, and hopefully we can achieve this with the bounty.
Yeah, that's super cool. And my second question was, so ever since this went live, and it's live on Umbrel, Raspberry, Blitz, MyNode, a bunch of other places, so technically there should be an increase in usage that should be reflected in the order book, right? So I mean, if that's correct, has the order book now gotten a lot fuller or busier
Bigger,
since
fuller?
then?
Good question. I never tracked it, so I don't know really what's the case before and after. OpenOMS is also part of the core team and is always there, and he has his own implementation called JoinInBox that is on Raspberry Bolt or Raspberry Blitz, sorry, and I think he could answer it better because he knows JoinMarket and all these stuff much longer than us and our existence, and I think he could compare it better. I don't have any numbers on that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's it for my question. Yashash, also everyone, thanks Yashash for joining. And Eddie, awesome. I mean, that was a tour de force, I think, as I would call it. What you, your whole presentation here, and I do think a lot of people. There's a lot to be learned from this project because it's about privacy, because there's so much complexity that has to be tamed, and particularly the part about informing people, like creating specific user flows around use cases and giving people the right information at the right time, being very sensitive to those situations. I think those are some of the
Yep.
big points.
Maybe I can also do a little shout out.
Sure thing.
So as Christoph also already mentioned, we need feedback. So we need people to actually use this. I will do it real quick. You can wait a too many windows. So we have a home on GitHub, of course. You can learn much more. We have our community calls, I think now every 4 weeks, with notes, etc., what is discussed. Just dive in. This is our official page that would love to see maybe a cool redesign. These are our docs, a lot of documentation to read, consume, and understand, but already our docs, so already built for Jam or around Jam. We have also a JoinMarket home page that I think just a duplication, but will bring you to Windows World. I don't know, even never did that. So basically what I want to tell you, we have also a Telegram community, of course. If you're a designer, if you're a developer, join us, leave comments anywhere. I love to see comments on Figma directly, right? I use them, I read them. So everyone is invited just to participate. Thank you.
Awesome, cool. Then I will stop the recording here. Thanks to all who joined and anyone watching this here later. Thanks for tuning in.